Welcome back again, my awesome viewers. So, what I want to show you as my fabric which I have here now is how to get this Danshiki design which you are seeing on the thumbnail there. So, how to get this Danshiki design, that is what I want to show you. And what you need to know about this your Danshiki is a different formula from the one which I gave you last. If you take a closer look on the style which you can see on the screen here, it's a totally different design from the other one. This is another way of getting your Danshiki. So I want to take you guys through on how to do this. So what I have here now is my fabric which I place on fold. As you can see, my fabric which I place on fold. And what you need to know about this your Danshiki is you are going to use your shoulder measurement. And my shoulder measurement is 18. My shoulder is 18 divided by 2 will give me 9. 18 divided by 2 will give me 9. So I have 9.5 right here. So why I have this 9.5 here, 0.5 inches for my sewing allowance and 9 is for my shoulder measurement. So take note of that. 0.5 is my sewing allowance, 9 is my shoulder measurement. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take from my shoulder, I'm going to cut out my full length. So let me trim this out. I'm going to cut out my full length plus 3 to 4 inches sewing allowance at the hem part. So let me go ahead to cut my shoulder plus 0.5 inch sewing allowance for both the front and back. Then I come back to you to do more explanation for you to understand. So what I have here now, from here to here, I have the full length of my top which I'm making now. Then from here to here, I have 3 inches for my turn-up sewing allowance, and at this down part here, I have 1 inch for sewing allowance. So this 1 inch for sewing allowance now, I'm going to fold here before turning this up with 0.5 inch. I'm going to use the fold here. When I get to that place, I'll see let you know. I'm going to fold it 0.5 inch, and at my shoulder part, I'm going to join my shoulder with 0.5 inch. So after getting that, you need your neck measurement. So you need to get your neck measurement for this part. So the neck measurement which I'm working with now is 16, which is my neck measurement. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to calculate my neck out from this part. So for your Danshiki, your back and your front for the shoulder is equal. It is not as your shirt which you normally make for or senator. For your Danshiki, your back and front is totally equal. So what I'm going to do for my width of my neck now, the width of my neck, I'm going to use 3 inches. I'm still going to come back to my round-up calculation. I'm going to use 3 inches for my neck width. Then my neck depth, I'm going to use 3.5 for my neck depth. I'm going to use 3.5. So let me just make here 3 inches again at this part. 3.5 to make my curve easier for me to get. 3.5, and I join up my square shape just like this, and I connect it like this, and I connect my neck like this. Then for your back, 1.5 inch for your back, 1.5 inch, because you're going to join our back by 0.5, it will fall back to 1 inch. It's 1.5 inch like this. So after this, let me get my calculation to see my neck, what I have here. So plus my sewing allowance, I have 5.5 minus 0.5, which is 10. 10 in total. So here, what I have here is 5.5 minus this 0.5 inch, which means from here to here is 5 inches. Divided by 2, because it is on fold, so my friend is on fold, divided by 2, making it 10. Then for my back, what I have for my back here, I have 3.5. So 3.5 minus 5, minus 0.5. So let me say from here to here is 3 inches. So 3 plus 3 give me 6. 5.5 give me 10, which is 16. So my 16 now is okay for my neck, because I'm going to pipe it. So my 16 is okay for my neck. Okay, I might decide to increase it. So if I want to make any increase in my neck, I'm going to take from my down. So that 3 inches for my width is okay For my width is okay, then my down, I'll make adjustment for my down. 3 inches. Let me connect it again. Make same connection like this. Because I'm going to use placket for what I'm making. I'm going to use placket for it. So what I will do now is to cut this out for my back first. Guess what I'm doing? Cutting out my back. So take note, this is my back being cut out. So what I want to cut now is only this part. So take note of this. You can see. So what I'm cutting out now, you can see my scissors. So I'm cutting only this part now because I'm already going to cut this. To make you safe, let me just take this out. Then cut out my front. So this is my front and this is my back. This is my back. Then my placket. The depth of my placket from here, it will be 7 inches. So 7 inches can go for everyone. You can decide to increase it, you can decide to reduce it, but I always use 7 inches. I can decide to increase, but not to reduce. I always like using 7 inches for my length of my placket. So what I'm going to do, my placket, now I'm going to slit this open. I'm going to open it at the middle to stop at my 7 inches which I have here. I'm going to slit it open like this and stop at my 7 inches. So at this my 7 inches, I'm going to put my notch like this. Take note, I'm cutting my front. Let me take out my back so you don't get confused. So my front, now I will notch it like this. So what I have here is about 0.3 inches. That is what I have here, 0.3 inch. That is what I have here for my front. So this is my front neckline, which I have. So let me go ahead to bring my pieces and show you on how to get your placket. Then let's go continue our sewing. Okay, so what I have here now is my cloth gum, which I want to use to cut out my placket. So this will be the pattern for my placket, and the length of my placket which I want to work with, I want to work with 15. So this length also depends on how many you like to make use of. I always like using 15. I don't know why, but I just like 15 when it comes to placket. I like going with 15 for my length. So you can make yours shorter or longer. Then what I'm going to do for this part, I'm going to take 1.5 inch for the width of my placket. So I'm going to use it like this. You can see I have my lines which I've already drawn out, my straight parallel line which I've already drawn out. So I am going to take my 1.5 inch like this to mark my 1.5 inch, connect it together. So I have 15 and 1.5 inch, and I'm going to cut it out. So let me place it on my fabric and show you. So I have gummed my cloth gum to my fabric, as you can see, so it is stick to my fabric. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to cut this down part by 0.5 inch. Make sure you have a 0.5 inch space at this down, and at this up you also have 0.5 inch space at the upper part. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to fold this in like this to this end of my cloth. I'm going to fold it till the end like this, and I'm going to press with my iron down to this spot. I'm going to fold it in and press it down. So after doing that, I'm still going to fold it in again. I'm still going to fold my till this last end. I'm going to fold this in again, and I'm still going to press it down. I'm still going to press it down. After pressing it down, I'm going to fold 0.5 inch from this spot. I'm going to cut 0.5 inch down. So let me go ahead to do all of that and show you afterwards. So after everything, so you can see what I just told you. which I have done exactly what I said. I folded here in, and I fold this part as well. So you can see my 0.5 inch, which I have at least my free part where there is no cloth gum. So what I'm going to do next now, I'm going to turn this, I'm going to turn it like this. Then I'm going to fold this in. So this one at this part should go in about 0. About 0.2 inches, 2 inch, 0.2 or 0.1. Just don't make it equal with this your front here. Don't make it equal with your front. Okay, sorry. It should come out instead. Sorry, it should come out. So when cutting yours, please take note of this. When cutting yours, this part, yours should be about 1 inch. So what I have here now is 0.5 inch. It will give me a little issue, but I can still walk my way through this. But when doing yours, please, yours should be 1 inch in width. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to fold this in like this. I'm going to fold it, and your front should sit on it like this, and about 0.2 inches should come out from this one that is under. So this one that is here, about 0.2 inch should come out, 0.2. So it should not be equal with your main up. So I'm going to fold this like this, and I'm going to iron it down to this spot, and keeping a little bit of this at this part. So just take notes, yours should come out. You can see my up here, and you can see the one at the down part, so it should come out like so. Let me go ahead to iron it and come back to you. You can see what I have here. I'm going ahead to fold it as I told you. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do another placket 7 inches will be the length of my placket, then 1 inch will be the width for my placket for another one that I'm going to make now. So just take note of it. I'm going to do exactly the same thing at the other part, then come back to show you. So I have done the same at this smaller part as I told you. So remember the length of our placket, the length which I cut out from this part, from my neck to this part, is 7 inches. So what I have for my cloth gum from here to here is 7 inches. In this down part, I have 1 inch for sewing allowance, and this upper part, so I have 1 inch. Why I normally keep space in between these two sides, because I can decide to change it anyhow I please or which. That's why I always keep my space at both the up and this down part. So when it comes to this, your neck here now, yes, this part is where you make your decision on where you want yours to be. You can decide for this bigger one to be at this part and this smaller one to be at this other part. You can decide for the smaller one to be at this part and this bigger one at this part. So when you want to make your decision, like me, I normally use this at any part which I wish. So I don't decide on putting one in one place. But once you have 0.5 inch here and this other part, this gives you room to decide on where you want it to be. So you can see, if I want it to be like this, I'm going to place it like this. So if I want it at this side, I'm going to place it like this. So it helps you engage yourself in whatever way you want it to be. So what I'm going to do now, I want to make this to be at this other part. So I want to make this one to be at this other part. So what I'm going to do now, this is my 0.5 inch which I have at this upper part. I'm going to cut it out. So I'm going to cut this out like this. So after cutting it out, I have something like, so what I'm going to do now, if I place this, please take a closer look at what I'm doing here. Let me bring this so you can see it clearer. So if I want to make it like this, if I take this in like this, you could remember I slitted this part at this down part. I made the air open at this down part, which you can see here like this. So you can see my slit which I gave a little notch at this part. So what I'm going to do, if I place from this my neck point down to this point, take note, this part, this is my down part which should be down. This is where my cloth gum is, and this side there is no cloth gum. So this side that there is no cloth gum came out more than my main part that there is cloth gum. If you take a closer look, I have showed you before, you can see that this other part came out. So this is the part which is going to sit down like this. So because I have cut out this up, so it is going to be equal at this top just like this. So you can see it is going to sit. So when I sew from this part, it is going to hold this part. So this is very easy to make. So before you do that, at this end part here, I still need to trim this because of what I have at this part. What I have at this part, I'm going to trim here. So at this my 7 inches, which I after placing this now, at this my end part which I have here. Make sure you find this your end part which you have from here to here. This is your 7 inches which you have. Make sure you have it at this part. So what you are going to do after getting your part, you're going to cut it like this, up to 0.5 inch. We're going to cut it up to 0.5 inch, just like this. At this your part which is going to sit under. So you are going to place this in. With that cutting, it will give you free space to pass in. Hope you understand. So what I'm going to do now, I am going to sew my placket from this top down to this spot where this is my 7 inches top. At this other one, I'm going to sew it from here down to this spot. And for this other, I don't know if I will show you how to sew this. I don't know. I don't like wasting much of your time. So many people are complaining of time wasted. So I like making things easier, but I don't know if I'm going to show you. So after doing that like that, this other one, definitely this one is going to be at this other side. So I am also going to terminate this my 0.5 which I have at this spot. Since I have already find where I want to place this. So I'm going to terminate this one which I have at this spot. So I'm working with the exact amount or exact point which I want to work with. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to place this one at this other part. Exactly the same way I showed you. After sewing this one, you must sew this first. Then this comes in. So let me show you how to do this. But I will first of all go and fix this the way I just showed you. Then this other one, I'll show you how to do it while sewing. So let's just go straight to that. I had to sew this part as I showed you or told you on how to do this. So you can see after sewing it catch up with this under part. If you go ahead to do it like that. So at this other part which I want to sew as well, I have gone ahead to cut my 7 inches from this part to this part. It's the same 7 inches from this part to this part. So after getting it to this point, I went on to cut 0.5 inch downwards because I'm going to fix this in. So after cutting it like that, what I'm going to do now is to put this in as I told you already. So while putting this in, you must be sure that this your upper part is sitting properly, because I have already gone ahead to cut out my excess that was remaining here, because I have already find where I want to place this. So I can go ahead. So you can put this placket either ways which you please. It is still okay. There is no sign that your placket will be on only one side. You can put it either ways if you wish. Sorry. So after getting it like that, I will make sure I have my placket in by about 0.5 inch from this side to where my placket is. So I will make sure from this part, just like this, will be about 0.5 inch which your placket is sitting. Definitely this side is higher, came out than your placket. So if you take a closer look, as I told you, this side came out than your placket. So there is no need for you to worry about that if your sewing is going to catch up with the under, because it came out than our upper part. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to make sure my placket is sitting at that spot which I just told you should come out by about 0.5 inch. So I'm going to fix my placket just like this. So this your placket is the easiest formula you can ever get anywhere. This your placket is very easy for you to fix, very very easy. Just follow the way I'm showing you on how to do this. It is very easy. So you can see 0.5 inch which we are going to place in for my placket. I told you for this longer part, I told you I made a little mistake which I corrected on the smaller part. So go ahead to make it 1 inch, then go ahead to do that. So I made sure what I have at this line meets up here equally. So I will show you that. So make sure you backstitch when sewing. So at this part, when sewing this part, make sure you are always cross-checking what you are doing to make sure it is sitting at that 0.5 inch which you kept for your placket. Then go ahead to sew downwards just like this. Make sure you have your 0.5 inch sew like this. So I will sew down to this spot which I have my cut at that part. So you remember at this your cut here, you can see my cut which I have here. That is where I also cut down to this spot. So I'm going to sew my thread down to that spot which I have my cut right there. Okay, so once I get to this spot which I have, so you should know before you intend fixing your placket. As I have my crease line. Yes, so I have my crease line here. You will not see it because the camera is being placed like that. I have my crease line there which I can see. So how to get your crease line? You fold your fabric equally like this. It should be equal. Fold your fabric equal like this and iron that line. You will see when you iron, that is your crease line. So that is the line which I cut from this up to get my 7 inches. From that line at the neck part, that was the line which I followed to get my 7 inches which I have at my placket now. So after stopping this part at my 7 inches, what I'm going to do, I'm going to raise my machine like this. I'm going to raise my foot. Then this my part which I have under this my 7 inches. I'm going to fold this in. So I'm going to fold this in. You can either fold this in or you take it under your placket like this. You can either fold it in or you take it under or you put it under like this. But I like putting mine inside so this under is neat. But if you put it under like this and so it will be rough somehow under. So I like putting mine inside. So you can as well go ahead to do it like that. It will still be okay. So I like putting mine there. So before anything, this part which I stopped, you can see I took out my needle. I'm going to put it back. So this is my 7 inches which I stopped at that part. That is where my cut. Remember, I always like repeating things so you don't forget easily. That is where I cut from this part down to that end. So after placing my needle like this, I'm going to make sure I put here in place. So you can see this neck is straight. Like at this part, it should be like this. So you can as well go ahead to use your pin to put it in place to make sure this is sitting properly. So to be safe, go ahead to put your pin to make sure that is sitting properly. Then at this part, make sure you're placing your placket like this to be straight so you can see what I have here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to stitch down to this part and I'm going to go back again. So at this point, I'm going to back stitch at my starting point there. And I'm going to sew down to this point. Then I'm going to take my needle again. I'm going to take my sewing back again to where I started from. So after getting to this spot, what I'm going to do at this part now, that my crease liner comes in place at this point. So what I'm going to do now, this is my placket. You can go ahead, if you can't get your midpoint for your placket, you can go ahead to fold it like this. Make sure you are folding it equally. Fold it like this and press. So you get your crease line at this your placket which you have here. So make sure you have your crease line. So the need for this your crease line is for your crease line to meet up the crease line at this your main bodies here. So make sure your crease line is meeting the crease line at your main bodies. So after it has meeting up at your main bodies, your crease line, make sure it is meeting. I'm repeating this. So your placket does not shift to one side. It is sitting exactly where it's supposed to sit. So after placing your placket like that, you are going to sew down. Make sure you're always cross-checking your crease line with the crease line on your fabric. So as this your end part, you can decide to give your down a design. But for me, I just want to fold that 0.5 inch which I kept in for my sewing allowance, or which I kept as my free space at this down part. I'm just going to fold it in and sew across. You can as well go ahead to fold this like this and give it this kind of design. But when doing it like this, make sure this your point is facing at that your crease line to indicate that that is your midpoint. Hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Then you go ahead to then sew down. But what I want to do now for this style, now it is like this. So I'm going to face it like this. So my crease line is totally meeting at this exact crease line there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to sew, but I'm not going to sew close to the end, before the end. But I will make sure I catch up this my excesses which I fold in. Make sure I catch it up so that it does not come out. So after doing it like that, I go ahead to turn it over. Then at this part you can as well backstitch to make it tight. Then it's so like that. So definitely your placket is very easy, believe me. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you find this helpful. I really need your thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. I need 1 million thumbs up for this video. So you can see what I have here. You can see my placket is this. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to sew directly to this end. Oh, sewing is really fun. It's really fun. I hope you guys are also enjoying it the way I do. So you can see I'm done with my placket. So let's go back to the work table and cross check what we have been working. Here's my placket. Everything is looking neat and sharp. So I don't like running my stitch to this end, but if you want to run your stitch to this end, after getting your point here, after sewing this part, after getting it down to this part, you can as well turn it like this. Then place your machine at this spot, then sew it down to this end. But I don't like doing it that. I like this part to be smooth. I don't know why. I just like it like that. So it is not must that you must do just like that. So this is my pin which I took out and I ironed it very straight. I'm going to place it back. So as this stops, this is my front. I'm going to place my back right side facing right side like this. I'm going to place my back right side facing right side. Please pardon me, the video is too long. Please pardon me. I just want you guys to understand everything about this. So at this spot, I'm going to sew 0.5 inch down and the same at the other side. After that, at this point, after joining my shoulder, at this point, I'm still going to extend this my sleeve, which is my sideline. I'm still going to extend this. So what I want to make use of, I want to make from this part, you know, we have 0.5 inch for sewing allowance. So I will like you still need to take your sleeve length at this part. You still need to take where your clients want it to stop. It can be here, it can be here, it depends. But if you look at the thumbnail there, it is quite up where it stops. So from this my end line, I'm not going to make use of this of my 0.5. So I'm going to take my tape from this part. So from this part, where I would like mine to stop will be 5 inches from this part. And let me say these 5 inches aside. So if I want to fix this, I still need to put something inside there. Because of the design of what I am working with, I still need to put something inside there. So what will go in will come like this. So my fabric will go in like this. And from this spot, let me just put this my 0.5 in. So when cutting, I will know that I have 0.5 inch at this part, which I am going to sew. And I will 0.5 inch at this part. So my fabric is going to come in like this, from this 2 inches like this, and come out 2 or 2.5 inches in like this, and come out again. So definitely the one that goes in and the one that comes out, making it 5 inches. So this 5 inches which I have here, 5 inches plus my extra 5 inches at this part, making it 10 inches. So that 10 inches, I'm going to include 0.5 inch for my joining of this part and 0.5 inch for the joining of this part on my plain piece, making it 11 inches. So take note of that. So my band which I'm going to sew from this part will be 2.5 plus 2.5, making it 5, plus 5 inches, which I'm going to put at this extra part here, making it 10 inches. And I'm going to include my 0.5 at this joining of this part and 0.5 at the joining of my extra part, making it 11 inches. So take note of that. So what I want to cut out now, I want to cut out, it all depends on your fabric, But with this, I believe I will join my fabric because I don't think it will be enough for that kind of space. But if you have enough fabric and you want to use it for that, you are not going to join the shoulder part of your fabric. Take note of that. So your fabric will be in a plain piece, and it will be able to go around from this end down to the other end. But this might be my fabric. I think I will join it, but even if I will join it, this part is not going to join the same way as that one. It will still go straight. So let me just go ahead to cut my 11 inches by width. Then for my fabric will be, so what I have here is 39.5 plus 39.5. So let me say 30 plus 30 60, 9 plus 9 18, 60 78 plus 0.5 79. So in total of what I'm going to get here will be 79. So let me go ahead to cut out my fabric. If I will be joined it, I'll join it, and I'll come back to show you bit by bit on how to go about it. So let's just go to that. So I have gone ahead to cut out my two pieces I told you, and there was no joining. My fabric was able to give me exactly what I was. So you can see there is no joining anywhere for this fabric. So what I'm going to do now is to sew at both sides, but I have two pieces of that for my both side. What I'm going to sew is to sew from this end, right side facing right side. I'm going to sew from this end down to the other end. So I'm going to sew it like this from this end down to the other end. I'm also going to top stitch it as well. I'm also going to do the same thing for the other part. So let me go ahead to join from this end straight to the other end and top stitch it, right side facing right side. So let me go ahead to do that. Okay, so I will go on and fold this. After sewing it, I run the top stitch. As you can see, if you take a closer look at this other side, you will see two lines here. So I run the top stitch on my other part piece, which I have as something like a lining. So this is where you are going to run your stitch at this other smaller piece. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to fold it like this, as you can see, making sure that this one is not appearing at this plain body. So I'm going to fold it like this and iron it down to the end. I'm going to do the same thing for the other part, and I will show you what to do next. So I have gone ahead to iron it. As you can see, I have gone ahead to iron it. So what I'm going to do now is to use my hemming gum. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to use my hemming gum to put it inside of this part. I'm going to put it like this and roll it down, cover it with this other part, and iron it. After doing that, I'm still going to place another hemming gum. So we have two hemming gum placed at both parts like this, then sew down. Please make sure you are working with that your 2.5 space which I have from this part, because I'm still going to sew it. I just want to make it look firm before anything. So make sure your hemming gum, after placing your hemming gum here, still place another hemming gum down at both parts. So that is what I want to do now. Then let me go ahead to do that, then come back to show you. So you can see hemming gum, just roll it like this. I'm going to put it twice at this part so it will look firm at both sides. Then I'll come back to show you what to do next. Okay, so I have gone ahead to gum it with my hemming gum, and you can see how this part is looking neat and smooth. Yours should also be like this. Make sure it is straight. So you can see this part. This is my hemming gum, which you can see holding it like this. So you can see as well this other part. So what I'm going to do now is to close it my 2.5, which I told you. So from this spot, I'm going to sew from this other side. So what I'm going to do now is to place it 2.5 from this spot. I'm going to place it 2.5, and I'm going to use my tape like as a guide to sew. As a guide, I'm going to sew it from this part up to this end at 2.5, and as well this other part. I'm also going to sew it 2.5 to make sure everything is firm. So let me go ahead and do that, then go back to you. Okay, so I have gone ahead to sew it as I told you. So you can see what we have at the front. After joining my 2.5, you can see what we have here. So what I'm going to do next is to get my armhole. So what I'm going to do next is to get my armhole from this my shoulder line. Make sure when doing this part, everything is straight at your shoulder, the way it is supposed to be. Make sure everything is in place like that. So I'm making sure everything is in place. So what I'm going to do from my shoulder to my armhole, I'm going to mark it at 9 inches. So I'm going to mark it at 9 inches. But this person which I'm working for is big, so I'm going to make it 10 inches. So if the person which you are working for, like which you are making it the Danshiki for is big, make it 10 inches. The person is small, 9 inches. So this is 10. So I'm going to notch this at 0.5 inch from that spot. So I am also going to do the same for this part. Same as this other part. 0.5 inch notching in. And first of all, I'm taking 10 inches for my armhole. Let me just go ahead to do that. So my armhole is 10 and what I have here is 12.5 that I'm going to use as turn up at my other part. So what I have here is 12.5. What I have here is 2.2 and I'm going to make here about 3 points. 3.2, 3.5. Let me make it of 3.5 at this point. So at this point I'm going to make it of 3.5. So I have 2 pieces of this. So what I'm going to do now, it will be for 2 pieces. So what I have here is unfold. If I get my 12.5, it's unfold. You can see what I have here. So definitely it is going to be like this. And take note, this my straight part will be the one I'm going to use to join at this part. So before I do that, I'm going to notch the midpoints between these 2 parts. Say it will be easy for me to sew. So I'm going to notch at this part and notch it as well. Notch this other part as well. And for my armhole, I will make sure my armhole line is in place, and I'm also going to notch this other part. You can see what I'm doing here. So I'm also make sure this my armhole is in place. I'm also going to notch here and notch this other one as well. Making sure my armhole is in place, notch there as well. So what I'm going to do at this part, I'm going to sew it like this, right side facing right side, like this. You can see my straight part which I have here. So from this my 10.5, which I have this notch here, I'm going to take my sewing from this part. I'm going to sew it all the way to this end, which I have my second notch here. Then I'm going to turn it over into top stitch. So after top stitching, I'm going to notch at this my fabric the way I did for this other part. After top stitching, I will do the both sides and top stitching. Then I come back to you to check you, to show you what I'm doing, what I will do next. Okay, so I have gone ahead to sew it and top stitch it as well. So I went on to run this my rough edges inside, so you can see how it looks. It's looking very neat. So after that, take note, I made a top stitch at this other part. There is a top stitch here. There is a line which I top stitch there, so you can see it. So after making my top stitching there, I went on to fold it inward like this and press it iron. Make sure you press both this back and this front. So you can see my front is also neat. So make sure you press both back and front neat. Then what I'm going to do next now, I'm going to put my hemming gum at this part. And I'm going to double my hemming gum. So you should also take note of these parts which I told you I'm going to notch. You can see my notches here. You can see how it is looking. So it is out like this. There's also use for this. Don't worry, we are getting closer to that. So after doing that, I'm going to put my hemming gum and gum the both sides. I'm going to double it with my hemming gum, double one and put another hemming gum at this part so it comes out strong and tight. So I'm going to do it at both parts. Then I'll come back to show you what to do after that. Okay, so what I have After getting my armhole done, so what I have from here, so you can see where I put my notch. So what I have from here to here is 30 inches. So I have 30 inches from here, from this spot down to this end. I have 30 inches. And I went on to cut out my face for that other part. So what I have here is 32 by length, 32 by length, and 5 by width. So why 32? Because I'm going to fold here twice. I'm going to fold the 1 inch twice, so it will take off my 2 inches. At this other part, will take off my 2 inches after folding it twice. And here is my length. But for this up, what I'm going to do, I'm going to reduce this my upper part by 0.5. So this is my upper part. I'm going to reduce it by 0.5. So instead of 2.5, I'm going to make it 2. And this is my upper part. So my 2 now, I'm just going to connect it to not get all the way to the down part. I'm just going to connect it down like this to lift up this part, just like that. So this is how it will be at my upper part. So I'm going to replicate the same shape as this other one. I'm going to do the same shape as this other one. So you can see this facing right side, placing it like this. So you can see my shape is coming out from both sides, which I'm going to trim. It's coming out from both sides. So this is my up. So let me just quickly go and fold this in and come back to you. So after folding this upper part, so what I'm going to do now is to place it at this my armhole part, like this. You can see my armhole part. I'm going to place it like this. You can see what I'm doing. Just take a closer look at what I'm doing. You can see my upper part. I'm going to place it like this. And this is my upper part, my armhole part. And I'm going to fold it like this. So you can see from this smaller part, I'm going to put it under it like this. And I am going to fold it like this. Fold it like this, and I will run it down. Run a stitch on it like this down. After doing that, I'm still going to turn it again, then top stitch on it down. Make sure it is appearing at your, it is going towards your main fabric when doing that. Okay, let me just go ahead to run one stitch down just to let you know on how to do that, then come back to you. So after doing it like this, what I am going to do now, I'm going to fold this inward. So you can see after joining it like this, as I told you, I am going to fold it in like this, and I'm going to run a stitch at this part up to this end. So it will be like this when stitching. So it was like this after sewing. So I'm going to take this out like this, and I'm going to place it like this and run a stitch from the up down to this end. So I'm going to do it at both parts and do the same at this other side and come back to show you what next to do. So at both ends, I have done just that at the side. So you can see I have closed up my side at both sides. So what I'm going to do now is to fold my 0.5 inch, which I told you at this down part. And when folding your 0.5 inch, if you want to pin, you can go ahead to pin this in place so that when folding, this also comes in at this part. It also comes in facing your side, and this one as well also comes in facing your side. So make sure you pin it down. So I'm going to sew 0.5 inch, sewing it like 0.5 inch around it. So after that, I'll tell you what to do next. So let me go ahead to sew it. Okay, so now I have folded my down part. I have hemmed it. So I went on to get my full length, as I told you on what to do. Then I went ahead to use hemming gun to hold it in place. So I did not sew it, but you can still go ahead to sew it if you prefer sewing. But I don't like my thread to show outside, so I went on to do my hemming. So after that, what I have for my side, because I'm going to get my big pocket at the center front. So big pocket is going to sit just like this at the front. So what I have for my width of my pocket is 9 inches. So I have 9 inches for my width, and I have 9.5 at the length of my pocket. So what I'm going to do for the pocket cover, for my width of my pocket cover, I'm going to get the same 9 inches which I have for my width of my pocket cover, and I'm going to get at least 4.5 at the length of my pocket cover. So I'll go ahead to cut that out. Then I will place it on fabric, place it iron, and cut it out. So what you are going to use for your pocket, you are going to use collar gum or strong gum. As you can see, it's very strong gum or collar gum or peplum gum. That is stronger. It's like paper gum, stronger one. But where I to use it. So let me go ahead to cut my pocket cover, then place it on fabric, and take note on this part. I'm going to cut out this part like this. I'm not going to make it straight. I am going to trim it like this at this side, just like this. So for my pocket cover, I'm also going to do the same trimming as my pocket cover, based on fabric, gum it, and come back to you. I don't want to waste much of your time. So let's go ahead. To my pockets now, I have gone ahead to gum it, and I went on to fold everything. So let me brief you on what I just did. So you can see what I have here. So I have about 1.5 inch allowance for this upper part. So I went on to fold 0.5 inch, then I turned 1 inch in. So you can see I use my iron to do all of this, and at my side here I have 0.5 inch around it. So you can see the shape which I cut out. You can see. So I went on to fold everything according to my fabric, the way I did for my placket. That is exactly what I did for this part. So I bend this in and fold it on my gum. So I have the same thing at this part, everywhere. Just fold it in and I fold it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to sew here. But I don't like sewing I don't like my stitch to show outside. So what I'm going to do rather is to sew only this part so it does not come out. So I'm going to sew here down. Then at this point, I'm going to put my hemming gun to hem it straight. So after doing that, so what I have from here to here is the same thing that I have from here to here, because this is my pocket cover. So, and for my pocket cover, remember I told you to use 4.5, but the 4.5 would have been too long, so I decided to reduce it by 4 inches. So it is now 4 inches. I reduced 1 inch I reduced 0.5 from my 4.5. So what I have here now is 4 inches. In total of what I have for my pocket cover now is 4 inches. So what I'm going to do for this part as well, I'm going to sew from here. You can see after placing my pocket cover, I have 0.5 inch around it for my sewing allowance. So this part too, I have 0.5 inch around it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to run a straight stitch, getting closer to this my line here. I'm going to run a straight stitch from here, getting closer to this line. Run it just like this. Run it down to this part. Then I am going to turn it inside out. Before I turn it inside out, I'm going to notch it so it frees when turning in. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to sew here and tops down, give it hem it. I'm going to hem it, then do the same thing for this part. Then I'll come back to tell you on what to do next. So I have gone ahead to do exactly as I said. I have gone it with my hemming gum. You can see how it is looking like. It is now firm. So I went on to fold it equally. So you can see these both ends are equal, and I went on to iron it to get my crease line. So I went on to form my crease line. I will come back, show you what to do about this. And you can see my pocket cover, which I'm going to use later on to cover this, just like this. So at my pocket cover, I went on to fold it equally and get my crease line as well. So this is my crease line which I have there. This is where I'm going to fix my buttonhole. I'm going to fix my buttonhole at this part because it's going to have button. So what you are going to do, when I will sew this, you can see this part which I have my gum stay. So when sewing this, it will fall in place like this. This part that I have my gum stay will come in front like this. After sewing this, I will bend it out like this and sew on it. So this aside, let's go to the main body. So this is my front. Remember, I have my crease line. Remember, I have my crease line at this my center line where I was able to, where it was able to direct me on where to place my placket. So after placing my placket there, what I am going to do now at this down part, I'm going to come up by 2 inches. So take note of this calculation which I am making at this area. It is not compulsory, because you might work on somebody smaller or somebody bigger or somebody thinner or wider. You should know that everybody comes in their own shape. But for this, what I'm making it now, I'm going to come up by 2 inches. 2 inches. This is my crease line that I have. This is my center piece for my pocket now. And I'm going to place it exactly at this my crease line for my main body of my dress. So this is totally showing me that this is sitting at a very straight line. So it should be straight like this. Your crease line should meet up the same crease line, so it gives you that straight and authentic shape. So at this down part, I'm going to come up by 2 inches. So from 2 inches, that is where my pocket is going to start from. 2 inches from this end. That is where my pocket is going to start, and it's going to sit like this. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to pin this down. So I have gone ahead to pin down my pocket. As you can see, my pocket now is now in place. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to sew a lip stitch at this part. Please sew it very close, but it should not come out, so there will be no hole here. Make sure you sew it very close and neat. Sew it up to this end. Then after doing that, I have showed you on how to do this part for the pocket. Go ahead to put your buttonhole, then sew it like this. So it should be like this. Since it is equal, it should be like this. Then you sew your 0.5 inch, which I kept for my sewing allowance. That is where I am going to sew at my 0.5 inch, and I'm going to turn it like this and close it up. So I will go ahead to do the buttonholes and do the rest part as I just showed you. So you can see I have gone ahead to pin it down. So it will enable me to sew it in the straight line without struggle. So let me go ahead to do that and come back to show you. As you can see now, I have gone ahead to fix my pocket. As you can see what I have here. So this is my pocket being fixed and my pocket cover. So I went on to do my buttonhole. So what I'm going to do now is to seal up my neck, then put my buttonholes. So for your neck, when you want to pipe your neck, I want to rush this up. I don't want to waste too much of your time because I have already taken a lot of your time. So I don't want to take further time. So what I'm going to do for this neck now, I'm going to fold this so you can see my initial end which I have for my fabric here. So I'm going to fold it on a bias. I'm going to fold it on a bias form like this. Then I'm going to cross check my neck measurement. So let me do that and come back to you without wasting time. Okay, so I have taken my round neck measurement. I took it from my placket round to this other placket stand there. So what I got there is 22.5. So 22.5, I'm going to make this 23.5, making 1 inch for sewing allowance, or I will make it more than 1 inch for my sewing allowance. So let me just make it 24 for my sewing allowance. So I will get my 24 here. Then what I'm going to do after getting my 24, I'm going to get my how is it called, my piping at the neck part. I'm going to make it by 1.2 inches, 1.2 inch. So that is what I'm going to get around to this end. So let me quickly do that. I have everything been cut out like this. So what I'm going to do now is to open it, and I'm going to fold it on a bias. So I'm going to fold this on a bias just like this, and fold this one again like this. So while doing this, I'm going to use my hemming gum. I don't want to waste time, so I don't want to show you that. I'm going to use my hemming gum to put inside of this part, inside downward like this, and I'm going to place this as a bias, and I'm going to gum it just like this to the end. After gumming it to the end, I'm going to fold this in like this. But while folding in, it is not going to be equal. One side is going to be lesser than the other, just like this. So let me just go ahead to do it, then come back to show you, then explain much better. So I have gone ahead to get my bias strip, and I went on to fold it. So what I have here now is 1.2. So take note of this. What I have here now is 1.2. So after getting 1.2 for this part, I'm going to divide this 1.2 into 2 parts. But while dividing it, this part has 0.7 and this part has 0.5, making it 1.2. So take note, this side have 0.7, this side have 0.5. So when you place it together, make sure you have your 0.5 at this part. So that means it will not be equal with the other one. So that is what I have from here till the end. So what I have here is 0.5, and what I have at this other part is 0.7. This is a simpler way to explain it. So what I'm going to do next, after getting that, I will come over to my neckline. Because I have this 0.7 at this down part, I'm going to place it just like this. I'm going to place it like this. Make sure it comes to this end like this, keeping a space of 0.5 at this end. Then I'm going to stitch on my 0.5 line. So take note, this side that comes out, this side is 0.5, going to be on top of this. Then I'm going to sew it downward, sew it to this other end. After sewing it to this other end, then I'm going to bend this in like this and stitch. And I will still run a stitch at the top. If you want to make it 3 lines, you can go ahead to make it 3 lines. But for this case, I just want to make it 2 lines. So I'm going to run that down and come up again, stitch it to the end. So let me just go ahead to do that. I'll come back to show you. So I have gone ahead to pipe my neck, and I went on to put my buttonholes and put my buttons. So you can see this part as well. We have done everything. So I have done it. As you can see, we have come to a conclusion of the tutorial. So for the sake of this video, please don't try this. For the sake of this video, I will put it on for you to see the results of what we have been making. So I will go ahead to iron everything, make sure everywhere is flat and smooth. Go ahead to iron here. Here we relax very well after ironing, then put it on to show you the finished work.